Thank you for joining me for the Alex on Tech and iTWireTV interview. Today I'm joined by Masseh Haidary. He's the CEO of Delv. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Now, Masseh, let's start at the beginning and delve a little bit further into Delv. The company was started in 2006. So what did it start by offering then? And what has this grown into today as we stand on the cusp of 2022?
Yeah, it's a great question to start off with. And we had a very exciting founder who was consulting into the government back then, Sam Smear, who founded our organisation. And it was basically founded off the back of driving change through device proliferation in those early days, just before the smartphone decided to hit the market and change the world. And Delv had a great opportunity there to drive change within government. And Sam took that opportunity as a consultant and contractor in that space and the knowledge that he had earned to form Delv that it is today. And we fast forward 15 years on, Delv has become a leader in its industry and a key one in those industries like government, like healthcare, and also financial services. And that all came from a passion and an interest in emerging technology and a way to drive change within the public service. And today we're pleased to say that we're engaged across many markets, many industries across the country, driving change and better user experience across many organisations in all the industries that we currently work in.
Now, regarding security solutions for government and enterprises, what are the key areas that IT managers and CIOs need to consider?
Yeah, the key thing here with security is there's many security products, there are many security organisations that have formed over the last decade. And the most important aspect of security is to ensure that it's secure by design, any technology, any process, and the way you engage with people. And what we like to call the eighth level of security is the human firewall. I think the focus needs to be on the people and ensure that we reduce the human risk of security. I think one of the most important things is that the device proliferation currently in the marketplace means that more and more with 5G, IoT and the connected world, it's more critical than ever that we ensure that we empower the humans to be security conscious, trained and empowered, well supported by security technology in collaboration globally.
Yeah, well, I mean, they always say that humans are the weakest link. So strengthening that human firewall through, education and awareness and training and everything else that technology can do to prompt us to make sure we do the right thing is critical in today's era.
Yeah, it's about making sure that you don't overinvest in product. A lot of people are throwing a lot of sexy widgets out there that are security proven. However, sometimes you've got to think about your strategy and the risk around the organisation and make those important choices around embedding security, not only in your product, but your organisation and the fabric that it operates within. So I think that's really critical at the moment. And the choices are tough for leaders, CIOs, CEOs, and IT managers around how much investment and where to put that investment around security. And right now, around the device, with a compelling event of COVID-19 is more important than ever right now to ensure that employees and customers can operate anywhere securely, minimising any risk that's currently going on around the world with threat actors and any other type of cyber risk.
So what industry verticals do Delv predominantly work with? What would be the best advice for IT decision makers in government, banking, finance and healthcare?
Yeah, you touched on it there, Alex. In terms of our key government verticals, Delv being born out of government, it's a key vertical for us, and we're very proud of that because of the highly governed nature and the highly compliant nature of government and its important role it plays in life, especially today. Government is one of the key leading sectors that we focus on. And alongside that, financial services, healthcare, and aged care are critical to the future of all of the industries that we operate within. And right now, the big focus for us is how do we ensure that we securely provide communication and enable communication across the industry in a secure manner. But also it's really important to understand how we partner with these organisations and these industries. Right now, there's a lot of similarities in those three industries that we operate within. There's a big focus on compliance, legislation, external factors. So it's really important that we continue to play a big role in that environment, and they partner effectively in collaboration in those ecosystems with sovereign organisations like Delv and also larger organisations that have a rich data set, a large influence across the region. And we can really make a difference here right now, especially in light of what we've gone through in sort of a 1 in 100 year event in COVID-19, and the way it's changed the way we think about how we operate, but also the importance of healthcare, security, sovereignty, all those areas. So we're very excited to play in those areas, and we feel we're positioned very strongly considering our roots to deliver that. And we have some great use cases and great customers right now that we work with in that space.
Yeah. Well, you were mentioning before that you're based in Canberra, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's my hometown. I'm normally based there as well, so I should
fantastic.
come in. You can give me a demo which I can film. But you were just mentioning some of those great customers. Are there any ones that you want to highlight and tell us a bit more about, or is it all, some of these things are confidential? I know.
Oh, look, there are enough projects over the last 15 years to share some rich history around the capability and the difference we've made, game-changing difference. It is difficult to discuss them in detail. Some of the more recent examples there was when COVID first landed. One of our key roles was to ensure that information was being delivered through a single source. There were a lot of fake news going on when we first, and a lot of questions that weren't needing to be answered for the public. And so Delv partnered with the federal government and all the key departments to deliver a single source of information through the Coronavirus Information Act. In the consumer mind and in the citizen mind, it's a bit of history now, but the role that it played at that peak was very critical, and we're very proud of the way we delivered that in a very short time frame and navigating the complexities of it. Sometimes you hear people talk about mobile apps being very basic and very easy to deliver. But it's another thing to work across organisations, industry bodies and security agencies to work with back-end technology and front-end technology to design and deliver something secure to citizens in a rapid environment, in a very unknown and uncharted territory.
Yeah, and look, digital transformation, of which a lot of what you're doing is that, that's a major part of business in the 2020s. This is a process of continuous improvement. And so you must have had some of these older customers you spoke about that you've helped to transform and upgrade a few times over the years now.
Yeah, and there are many customers, and digital transformation took a different form as time went on. I
it became
think
more mature and sophisticated. I mean, originally it was just getting online. But
exactly.
Now...
Exactly, and it took different dimensions. I think when digital transformation came out, it was more about the latest technology, and Delv being an emerging technology organisation focused on security, it has really learned over the last decade that there's multi-dimensions to digital transformation, and it's not about the technology, it's actually about the people, the processes, and how we embed technology within our organisation and the broader ecosystem to deliver change, deliver prosperity, deliver a difference. But it can't be done without the people and the evolution of the impact that has on the fabric of the business. And I think that's something everyone is grappling with today, considering the external factors that we're facing. So I think it's a very exciting time, but it's a really important time to ensure that we're planned, we have a clear strategy, and we deliver within the realms of that strategy, because emerging tech and shiny toys are very tempting to the great entrepreneur, to the tech leaders of the world. And there's a lot out there right now. So it's important to make the right choices within the context of your strategy and deliver that through your people and your entire supply chain securely, and also in a very structured and compliant manner.
Now, I know that every company and their technologies are different, but what is the average timeline that it takes to listen to a customer's needs, to work with them on identifying the right technologies and, working with their people, and then implementing the solution?
Yeah, and again, in the enterprise world, that's very wide and varied. It can be as short as 2 months when you have a compelling event, and it can be up to 24 months if you've got a large strategic project. I think days of the waterfall projects are over, and it's essentially ideal to see in an ideal and really optimistic environment. It's really important to stay on that journey for a long term, a sustainable term, and engage really well. Right now, it takes up to 12 months to really ascertain the need and deliver a solution. But the days of a point solution are over. This is about coming together with multiple organizations and solving a larger business problem. So that takes a long time. And ideally, you don't want that sales cycle or that engagement cycle to finish. That should be a continuous evolution. And where the great partnerships are formed, the best innovation is delivered, are those cohesive, trust-driven partnerships that are long-term and enduring. And I think that's a really important change in the ecosystem, where point sales cycles were finished, you would move on to the next opportunity. But right now, it's about delivery. It's about building trust, and it's about understanding the ecosystem and the partners and the customers and the people that you work with more than ever right now. And that allows you to minimize the risk of the external factors and stay true and authentic to what your vision and your mission is.
So, Masseh, with the changing working environment and hybrid working, how do you feel Delv can help companies through this challenge of hybrid working and the corporate-owned devices, the BYO devices, people who've come to work with devices that have sat there for 18 months unpatched, whilst their work computer has had their kids playing with it. I mean, there's a lot of challenges. What is Delv's position?
Yeah, look, right now with the complexity in the technology environment, there's a greater push to cloud-based technology, which means that puts security risk to the forefront of the CIO, and the industry as a whole. And with the introduction of the hybrid workplace, we're seeing bring your own device concepts come to the organization more and more. And a zero trust mentality and a zero trust framework is critical for us to ensure a secure environment. So it's a challenge for all organizations to partner with leading technology organizations that can reduce that to zero risk and ensure that security is at the forefront of everything we do, because the cloud migrations pose a very different challenge to the market today. Gone to the traditions of on-premise technology, there's a big challenge out there the CIOs are talking about is how to migrate to the cloud securely, how to host data securely into this concept called the cloud. And Delv's device as a service capability really allows you to focus on ensuring security is at the forefront, but user experience is also critical to ensuring that there's seamless experience for your employees, regardless of where they're working from today. So bringing those two together is a complex engagement, ensuring collaboration, unified communication, and the use of devices from any location. And so we're really excited about driving change, optimization, and security to that environment.
So how do you see Delv evolving over the next couple of years? And what do you think the industry might look like in the 2030s if you sort of looked into your crystal ball?
Yeah, it's a very exciting time. And I think Delv is very strongly positioned for the next 10, 20 years. If you look at the industries that are changing the game right now, and you talk about 5G and 6G telecommunications, you look at artificial intelligence and machine learning. Technology has its time and it has its adoption. Right now, it's early days. There are leaders there. And Delv play in those key areas. One of those key areas being automation, intelligent automation, and basic robotic process automation still have a long way to go to be embedded within organizations. While it's been around for over 20 years, there's a time and a place where there's a a real compelling need, and the stars need to be aligned, the technology needs to be aligned, and the external environments. And we're there now. And where the device is going from a fixed device to a device anywhere, the word mobility is becoming less and less in the context of a mobile device. Mobility takes a different context today. Delv is really in the middle of that convergence of taking that desktop and that mobile and delivering a whole new experience, which we expect it to be as good as our personal experience. So when you look at where we are, you're looking at the device industry, you're looking at how automation is changing the game, and you look at the role that IoT, Internet of Things, and 5G are playing. We're at the heart of that. And we see that that's going to only increase in adoption. And if you look at the data, the statistics and the research of what CIOs, CEOs, and founders are dealing with right now is how to embed those technologies effectively within their strategy and what it means to their business and their business model over the next 10 years. But you can expect to see a huge change in the iPhone. You can see a huge change in the Android phone.
Well,
I think smartphones are going to
the glasses.
yeah, they're going to change quite dramatically with the emergence of a meta technology, the use of data. Again, it's going to be the key to this is how do we simplify it and how do we ensure that organizations leverage leaders in that market. I think the days of doing it alone are over. You want to stay at the edge, leading edge of your industry, whether you're government or you're the private sector. Collaboration, meaningful collaboration is key to the success of adopting the latest and the best, but also embedding technology and digital transformation in a meaningful way. And I think we have a very exciting future, which is going to create some amazing jobs. And I think this fear of jobs being taken away are a myth. And I think that there'll be more jobs created than ever before right now due to the emerging technology that's coming out. But at the same time, we need to manage that narrative and support the discussions around the role that technology plays in the labour market and how that we're expecting it to drive new skills growth. And we're looking at growing engagement in the world and within organisations. We're expecting highly engaged employees working on meaningful change-driven items. So it's a very exciting time, and I feel we're right at the centre of that, and we need to ensure that we are prioritised, we're focused, a government-centric organisation focused on emerging tech. It's a really exciting place to be right now.
Now, before we get towards the end of the interview, is there anything else about Delv that we should know that you haven't mentioned or that I haven't asked about?
Well, I think the key for any organisation is its people. If you talk about differentiator, and the one thing that Delv is very focused on that I haven't really touched on is diversity in technology, the emergence of women in technology, looking at different ways of working. You know, we talk about working from home and the future hybrid workplace. We're looking at working through a 4-day week. We're looking at changing the game. So we attract talent that is the best in the industry based on capability and competence. But we feel we're going to get a diverse attraction that way. And I think that's something that the market's looking for. I think people are grappling with where the market is going and what type of role do I want and how much flexibility do I need. Well, an organisation can create an environment for you to really succeed in, but also be in markets that are very exciting. They're going to invest in your future. I think it's game changing, and we have a great opportunity at Delv to do that because we're still young. As you mentioned, we're founded in 2006 from an entrepreneur who's very excited about emerging technology, but now taking it down a path where we are partnering with the largest organisations in Australia and working closely with government. It's a very, very exciting time. So we're looking forward to attracting all that great talent to our organisation and helping drive prosperity. So.
Now, just to change gears for a moment, because I always like to find out a little bit more about the people that I'm speaking to. And I was wondering if you could please share a memory of your first computer.
Yeah, well, when you say that, the first thing that comes to mind is the Commodore 64. So I have very good memories of the Commodore 64 as a child. But More recently, the first laptop or computer that I remember really looking at was very heavy, very large compared to the nimble ones we have today. Was the IBM when they first came out with ThinkPad.
Yeah.
And so very wowed by that piece, and really it was a time where I was emerging on an adventure of my own as a young excitable person entering the world and finishing university, and certainly that laptop at the time excited me. Right now it's a brick and I've kept it. It's an antique and I'm sure it'll be worth something in decades' time to pass it down to the kids. So the IBM ThinkPad does stand out. So whatever they did worked at that time.
Absolutely. Oh, well, they were built like a tank. I mean, their legacy still continues to this day with Lenovo. They've managed to keep the brand going. It's impressive stuff. But you were mentioning, your early days in university. What is a little bit more about your own personal history in the world of tech?
My little piece of excitement was, in the late 90s, starting up my own .com in the floral industry, and now dissolved into other large online organisations. Went out to challenge the greats of Interflora, who the florists were just struggling to grapple with technology, and they were in corner store. They loved making beautiful bouquets, and they needed somebody to create a homepage, and they didn't know what a homepage was. So, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, came out of university, I started a venture of my own with a website designer and a graphic designer, and that's all I needed back then. And off I went, building web pages and new interfaces for the local florists in the area. And back then had a what they call almost a SaaS type pricing model back then. Looking back now and where we are today, really meaningful experience back then, and really moving on, taking opportunity with a great Australian success story being Salmat. Salmat was an organisation in the early days founded by two amazing Australian leaders today, one who's passed, but legacy lives on. And that really was my grounding in the tech industry, and allowed me to navigate experiences that I never would have thought with an organisation was a startup and when ended up being a $1 billion organisation. And so I was able to go back and do 14 years there and see it turn into the amazing organisation it became. So a really great founding roots there, and a lot of learnings across three very, very interesting markets that we work with.
And so my second last question is to ask if you could please share some of the best advice you've received in life to help you get where you are today.
Well, yeah, it's a very tough question because you get a lot of advice through your years. But the one that I think that stands out that I continue to sort of take on every day, and it was given in the context of marriage, and that was don't go to bed with anything unresolved. And I think, excuse me, that's been a very important founding view for me in my work life as well, because authenticity is critical, and the advice you're always given is don't leave any conversation unresolved, and you don't want your people to walk away feeling that a conversation is unresolved. You don't want a customer walking away feeling that they didn't get the answers that they were looking for. And I think that's the most important thing, is that when you go to bed, whether it's your personal life, whether it's your professional life, you don't want a conversation or an engagement to be unresolved before you go to bed, because that festers and turns into something it shouldn't be. And I think that's helped me in life a lot, because underpinned by that is being authentic and really working on your own personal development has been key to my journey. And that sticks in every facet of life today. When I walk into a customer presentation, I want them to walk away, whilst there might be items not finished, but to feel like we finished a conversation and we came out with the objectives and outcomes we delivered. And that goes with a conversation with your children, with your partner, or wherever you are. And I think that's helped in life a lot, because that drives a psychologically safe environment for our people, whether we're in our personal life and our professional life. And right now, those two have been blurred more than ever before. And so I think that's going to continue to be a key strength for everyone and anyone who can focus on their ability to be authentic and finish conversations and resolve any unresolved issues before you go to bed. It's a difficult challenge to have, but one that will continue to help any leader or anyone in their life. So, yeah.
Reminds me that it dovetails beautifully with the saying that, people don't remember what you said; they remember how you made them feel.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And every day we want to make a difference. And if you look at the vision and mission of what Delv's trying to achieve, but also our personal missions, is we go home with a smile on our face when we make a difference in somebody's life. Whether we send them home because they've had a tough day and we send them home early, or as giving them some advice that's really changed the game, either personally or professionally. So doing that feels the best. Giving back feels the best, and that's what we need to be about. And I think that's where the world is heading. The more purpose we drive within our environments, personal and professional, the more we're going to get.
So, Masseh, what is your final message to iTWire viewers and readers, and to your current and future customers and partners?
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to discuss that, Alex. And the first thing is, the message I want to send is that we can't do it alone anymore. I think the days of doing it alone is over, and it's really important that we work together collaboratively as an industry, as a country, and as individuals to ensure that we prosper through this next phase of life. And I think there's a real opportunity for government organisations, for the private sector, for industry, for academia to come together and deliver solutions, value and change in the world that's never seen before. And I think it's a real strong message from a Delv perspective that we work together with our partners, with our customers, to drive change to citizens, to users, and to consumers. And I think that's a really important note, that we feel that those point solutions and doing it alone has really gone away, and it's really focused on ensuring that you're staying ahead of the game and are able to curb the challenges of the external environment today. And you can only best do that is by working together collaboratively and taking the best of what the industry has to offer. And I think the second real important message is the emergence of the way that we work today, and the hybrid workplace has become critical to the future success of organisations in many ways, technologically, operationally, and from a people perspective. And the role that the device plays right now is central to that. And I think it's really important to note that gone are the days of just using a mobile standalone is enough. It's really important to see the mobile device, the laptop, and other convergence of technology. The role that they're playing and the way we need to think about it is completely different. And therefore, we need to consider it in the context of organisational strategy and how that's going to empower and enable the way that people want to work into the future as we go into the next 5 and 10 years. So it's a really important opportunity for organisations like Delv to lead the way with government and enterprise to change the way we work and enable our users to use digital technology differently, but also securely in a zero trust environment.
Absolutely. Well, Masseh Haidary, CEO of Delv, thank you very much for taking the time to join me today. I look forward to catching up with you in Canberra, and I look forward to talking again in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Have a great Christmas and New Year.
You too. Bye-bye.